Good afternoon. This is Missy Baker, and I am a PBIS consultant with State Support Team 16. This is Better Data in 5. Today's edition is going to be about using data with PBIS. So we're going to call this Data Resources to Make Data-Based Decisions. This picture here looks probably very familiar to everybody. We all know that data is what should be driving all of our action plans. And that is basically what we want to think of when we're evaluating your behavior process and continually changing things by looking at the data and gaining the new knowledge. So I want you to think about these 3 questions as we think about the use of data in PBIS. So number 1, is data being used to make decisions in your district or building? I'm sure everybody's going to say yes. Then it gets a little more specific. Is data used during your DLT, BLT, and TBT, but also PBIS, SEL, and all the other initiatives that you have that falls under an MTSS framework? 3, is data being shared with all stakeholders, including staff, maybe, sometimes students? Sometimes we fail to do that. They need to understand how things may be improving or how they look and needs improved. How about your families? Are they data being included in your newsletters, school board members, community, and more? This session is going to show you some free apps that I can provide and will be very helpful in your use of data. So if we take a look here at the middle, these free apps that I'm getting ready to show you, you can get an electronic format and a paper format for these varieties of assessments. So I'm going to talk about the first one right here. We in PBIS mainly use what's called a TFI, and it means Tiered Fidelity Inventory. We have one for tiers 1 through 3, and I'm going to show you what they look like in a minute and describe that a little more. This website, PBIS apps, will also have 3 different school climate surveys, which are very important for not only PBIS, but to collect information about how things are going to make improvements. So there's one for parents, there's one for students, and there's one for staff. The PBIS apps also has what's called a benchmark of quality. It's pretty much like the tiered fidelity, and it's going to see if you are implementing PBIS with fidelity. There's also an SAS form. It is called Self-Assessment Survey. And what's neat about this one is that it is for the whole staff. And then the whole staff, once you get the data, you'll be able to determine if you have effective behaviors that is being implemented in your district or building. And finally, they also will allow you to use an early childhood benchmark of quality. So there'll just be a few changes that would go with your preschool. So we all know that when we are surveying our school personnel, this is basically going to be school climate and staff's point of view. Again, we have one for the students, the family perceptions, and PBIS recommends that these assessment surveys be given, at certain times, but of course you can use them at any time. Especially if you're thinking about applying for a PBIS recognition award, you cannot just use, like, let's say a TFI as a data resource. You need to be using lots of extra assessments to really be able to explain how behavior, if it's effective or not. So I wanted to show you this. This is just an example. So if you are on a PBIS team and this is tier 1, you can kind of see how it looks. The domain here is your teams. The TFI tells you who should be on the team, and then it gives you a scoring rubric. And it's very easy. You can look at this and go, oh my, we're at a 1, we're at a 2. And then over here, you can start action planning by using the data. I love this part here at the bottom. Who's going to do it when, resources needed. So each of the TFIs kind of looks like this, and some of them have 14, 15, 16 features. So why would you want to use these data assessments, these data tools? They're very helpful if we just talked about this, a building or district is applying for a PBIS recognition award. We had 4 award winners in Southeastern Ohio last year. So we're hoping that there are going to be more buildings or districts that want to apply for the PBIS recognition awards. It is very helpful if you are going to use data to drive decisions and action plans, and also when scoring the TFI for all 3 PBIS tiers. Again, more data gives you more knowledge to make those important decisions. So here you go. All you have to do is click this link. It will take you to pbisapps.org. At the very bottom, this is how you become what we call a local coordinator. So you're going to click this local coordinator information form. When you click it, it will come to a page that you will have an editable Word document where you can go in and put in the school information, who you want to decide as your coordinator. It can be anyone, honestly. It doesn't have to be an admin, which it probably shouldn't be. Take a little something off the admin plate. It doesn't have to be the PBIS leader. It could actually be someone on the team. But if you fill that out within a few days, a week, you will get links where you will be able to have access to all those assessments that I just talked about, and they will provide you with survey links that you can send out to parents, staff, students, etc. And finally, remember to use the decision-making process when we are trying to make systemic changes. So I know everyone is very familiar with this process. So look at what's in the middle, data. So when we're thinking about PBIS, when you come to the table and you start sorting your data, whether it's in PowerSchool, whether it's in Swiss, Infinite Campus, the graphs, the data is going to show you where your big problems are. If you're using something like Swiss, they have a drilled down feature. It's so neat. You can actually see what might be the motivation of a behavior. And then obviously using that data, we're going to look at some changes that we want to make. The big part is let's start implementing. Fidelity, you use the TFIs to see if it's actually operating with fidelity. And on the TFIs, you will find out that once you complete the rubric and you determine your percentage, if you score a 70% or higher, it means that you are implementing that tier with fidelity. So that's where we want to be with the PBIS teams. And then again, just to follow through and finish up, you always want to continually do this. A lot of those assessments probably could be done minimum once and sometimes twice, depending on if your team is just getting started. Sometimes they recommend doing those a couple times. So please reach out. Again, my name is Missy Baker and I am with State Support Team 16, PBIS consultant. You can go to our website, you can find me, you can email me. I am available to help with PBIS and data or many other features of your MTSS. So thank you and have a great afternoon. I guess I'm supposed to finish with this. This slide deck has a QR code, and the data team here at SST is Julie Bays, Kate Silver, and Jenny Lang. So feel free to have access to the slide deck so that you can see everything and use the link to PBIS apps.